from a distance where your salat becomes qasr here in masjid. Let me break it to you. Your fast for today is gone. If you pray qasr here, today you came for salat al-Jummah, your fast is gone. Why? You must have left your house before zawal to come to masjid to pray salat al-Jummah. So that's okay. Your fast for the day is gone. You just have to make up the qada for the day. Because the place where your salat becomes qasr, you travel to that place, your fast is void. Especially if you travel before Dhuhr time. Yeah, if you were to come after Dhuhr time, of course you won't get to Jummah then. Then your salat, your fast will be intact. But traveling during Ramadan before Dhuhr and arriving at that destination after Dhuhr or staying at that destination post Dhuhr, your salat becomes, your fast becomes void. There's nothing, there's no kafara onto you, but what is the qada of this fast after Ramadan, inshallah. So, as the salat begins, you said takbiratul ihram. Things that you were allowed to do prior to it, you can't do it. That's what takbiratul ihram means. It becomes haram about those things which you could do easily prior to that. Eating, drinking, laughing, talking, turning away from qibla. We can avoid these things because it's only temporary. You're praying, Salatul Jummah will be 4 or 5 minutes. Dhuhr will be 5-6 minutes. You're like for 4 or 5 minutes, I can control myself not to look around. I can control myself not to eat something. I can control myself not to do something, deviate, which breaks my salah. It's a temporary thing. When you go to Hajj, by putting on the ihram, 25 things become haram onto you. Right? Not just a few things. And that too, not for a few minutes. They become haram for you for the entire time you have this ihram on. So it could be that you're wearing ihram if you go to for Umrah, 3 hours, 4 hours, 5 hours. If you go to Hajj, maybe for a couple of days, you're in the state of ihram. So what happened? These 25 things, which then slowly and gradually start becoming halal for you. Once you've done the taqseer, many things become halal for you. Once you've done tawaf al-Islam, all of the things become halal for you. So Hajj and Salat, you can compare the two, that when you say takbiratul ihram and Salat, many things become haram. When you put on the ihram in Hajj, many things become haram for you. Likewise, during Ramadan, while fasting, we avoid few things. Eating and drinking are the basic, most basic of the things that we can avoid. We can even avoid even outside of Ramadan, let alone in the month of Ramadan. Ascribing false things to Allah, Prophet and Imam, immersing one's head into water, and many other things that are there in the books of fiqh that make your fast invalid. These were the things that related to our physical body. But the traditions mention that abstaining from these is not enough. Anyone can abstain from not eating and drinking and having a relationship for duration of the day. From dawn to dusk, anyone can do that. What is more important, what is the essence of this fast is لَعَلَّكُمْ تَتَّقُونَ, that you may become muttaqi after that you may attain the piousness and become pious after that. So taqwa is attained by giving preference to others over yourself, and this can be achieved during Ramadan, as Prophet said which I recited in the beginning of the khutbah, give iftar to those, especially those who are in need. So there have been many opportunities here for you to sponsor iftar. Of course, all the people that are coming in, we don't know who's in need, who's not in need, but there are all other opportunities, even locally, as we've announced, and I will announce it again in between the prayers, that you can contribute towards those who are unable to provide for themselves and for their families. So portray taqwa in your eating and not by wasting the food. That's one way we can practice taqwa. When you're eating, when you're consuming, taqwa means what? Means what? That you consume a lot. Well, you can eat as much as you want. Consume little, you can eat as little as you want. Waste, no, wasting, that is anti-taqwa, if there's a word like this. Let's introduce a word, anti-taqwa. Anti-taqwa is to waste food. So if you see food is being wasted, if you see anything like that is being done, that is anti-taqwa. So taqwa is attained by controlling the desires, by, it is something which is a virtue that, is bigger than being free in Islam, right? That you control your desire, as opposed to being a slave of another individual. It's actually bigger than that. Imam Amir al-Mu'mineen, Ali ibn Abi Talib, the sight of Ali ibn Abi Talib is someone who's free. But you and I say, well, we're not slaves of anyone. We don't have a master in the form of human beings over here. There's only one master, and that is Allah. But yet what? We're still slaves of our desires. Imam said, the one who's able to control his shahawat and his desires, that's the one who's really entitled to calling himself to be hur. That individual has the title to say, well, I am a free man or woman. But if that's not the case, he says, Man malika shahwatuhu kana taqiyya. The one who's able to have complete control over his desires is the one who's referred to as muttaqi. The same way, insan owns his or her own wealth and is not owned by it. Right? You own your wealth. I'm sure that is the case. You have access to your wealth. You have those keys to your wealth. You have the mafati of your wealth wherever you have put them, whether it be in accounts, whether it be at home, whether it be in a safe, or whatever the case may be. You own it. It doesn't own you. If he can do the same with his desires, the person becomes muttaqi. But you'll argue back saying, no, Molana, it's not the case that we own our wealth. In fact, our wealth owns us. You know, we become slave of our wealth, then it starts owning us. And so that is even not true when it comes to the mere wealth that we are accumulating by living in this world. Taqwa is attained by controlling the tongue, by closing the eyes, the ears from haram, by showing compassion towards the orphans. In the same khutbah, when Rasulullah speaks about various aspects of fasting, one thing that he adds on to, he says, وَتَحَنَّنُوا عَلَى الْأَيْتَامِ النَّاسِ يُتَحَنَّنُوا عَلَى أَيْتَامِكُمْ. He says, show compassion to the orphans of the people, so compassion will be shown to your own orphans. Right? If you want, that's reciprocal, right? If you do something good to someone, it kind of turns around and comes back to you, and in a good way as well. When you do good, good comes and returns to you. That is the qaida that we have come up and learned from the very beginning. So if you show compassion toward yateem, those who are orphans, and there's many opportunities, inshallah, throughout this month of Ramadan, you will witness, there will be some organizations that will be coming to Masjid Ali, presenting their charity and whatnot. They will all be referring to, some way that they're helping the yateem and the orphans around the globe. That's a very important number. I've said this before, I'm sure many of you have heard it from my mouth before, that if there's a shortcut to Jannah, it is taking care of a yateem. Salat, fast, things, all these things are wajibat, true. But if there's a shortcut directly to paradise, that is by doing the kafalat of a yateem. These are not my words. These are the words of Rasulullah. You've heard these words. Many of you already are thinking about what I'm about to say. Now, Rasulullah is the one who said, Me, ana wa kafilu yateem, kahatani fi Jannah. Me and the one who takes care of a yateem are going to be like this in Jannah. Not just in the lower, chambers of Jannah. With Rasulullah at the highest chamber of Jannah. So when you take care of a yateem, and taking care of a yateem is not just providing wealth and providing for the food and shelter so that they have a living and whatnot. No. Real taking care of a yateem is to giving them the sense that they don't feel the yateem being yateem anymore. Right? Someone who's lost. Of course, many of us are yateem in that sense that our fathers are not alive. But when you lose father at an older age, you don't feel that aitam. But when you lose it at a young age, then people call you that you're yateem, you're an orphan. That orphanage. For that purpose, in order for Prophet to understand that how a yateem feels, Rasul was born and raised as a yateem himself. He was an orphan. His father Abdullah passed away prior to his birth. And he was raised by his grandfather first, and then by Hazrat Abu Talib. So when Rasul says, me and the one who takes care of a yateem will be like this in Jannah, then the one who takes care of a yateem in the form of Rasulullah, that is Hazrat Abu Talib. Just imagine the maqam of that individual would be. Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam. In Ramadan, we don't eat and drink during the day. So we can easily avoid gatherings which we sometimes are forced to go into. If one can avoid gatherings of entertainment during Ramadan and Muharram, respecting it, right? Someone calls you, can you come to our wedding? It's Muharram, I can't. Ahl Sunnah, they don't realize that we don't have marriages during the month of Muharram and Safar. Although it's not haram, all of you know that it's not haram to get married in the month of Muharram and Safar. But it is as if haram in our culture. If anyone speaks of that, right away you'll be questioning their faith and their aqidah. What's wrong with you? You're getting married in Muharram? So right away we abstain. Our brothers in faith, they may not care of that. They get married in the month of Muharram and they get married in the month of Safar. And you might even get invites. People have in fact asked me, Molana, a friend of mine is getting married in the month of Safar, for example. Am I allowed to go? I'm like, you're asking me, am I allowed to go? You want me to give you a religious ruling from the Marja? Yeah, Marja says it's not haram. But out of respect for Sayyid al-Shuhada, we don't go into gatherings of happiness or joy during these ayyam. And that's very difficult to explain to, easy at the same time, but very difficult for someone who's not in this culture, raised or born and raised in this culture, for them to understand. How is it that you make it haram onto yourself? You impose this hurmat onto yourself. So when we can do that in the month of Ramadan, and we can do that in the month of Muharram, then of course, we can definitely do it afterwards as well. Why? وَعْلَمُوا أَنَّ اللَّهَ مَعَ الْمُتَّقِينَ. That is taqwa. That when you're able to say no to that which is leading you towards haram. That is actual taqwa. Why? Muttaqeen are those Allah is with them. So nobody will then speak to me. People will boycott me. People will not want to come to my wedding then. People will not. Do you want to be with them or you want to be with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala? The ayat of Quran says, وَعْلَمُوا أَنَّ اللَّهَ مَعَ الْمُتَّقِينَ. With this attitude, which you turn down, not in this attitude like, what's wrong with you? Why are you doing this? And you should be banned and you should, no. Just simply say, brother, I can't come. Sorry, it's my duty towards, it's my aqidah that I can't attend any of these sort of programs because it goes against the tenets of the religion. In a nice way, you turn it down, there's nothing wrong with it. If the person reacts, however they react, but know the fact that أَنَّ اللَّهَ مَعَ الْمُتَّقِينَ. And that is the reason, and I'll conclude because I'm running out of my time, that it says, وَلَوْ أَنَّ أَهْلَ الْقُرَىٰ آمَنُوا وَاتَّقُوا لَفَتَحْنَا عَلَيْهِمْ بَرَكَاتٍ مِنَ السَّمَاءِ. And if if only the people of the cities had believed and feared Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. What happened is that societies that we live in, you start losing that faith and you start losing the fear of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Fear of Allah is what? God-wariness. Fear is actually taqwa, right? Don't translate this into a fear from a tyrant leader. No, fear is that taqwa itself. When the ayat of Quran says, and if only the people of the cities had believed and feared Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, we would have opened the doors of blessings from the heavens to the earth for them. So you step forward. You start fearing Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. You start turning down these sort of invitations. You stop going to these things, right away you're asking for the blessings from above to come down. Taqwa benefits you, not just in this world, but also in the hereafter. Sallallahu Muhammad wa alihi. I begin with this khutbah of Rasulullah in which he said, Ayyuhan nas, man santara minkum sa'id. O people, any one of you feeds a fasting person, it is as if they have they've been freed from, they have freed a slave, and their past sins have been forgiven. So we ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala that by the virtue of fasting, with all the favors that He has bestowed upon us, the ability that we're able to sit here peacefully and pray, the ability that we're able to participate in our religious rituals without anyone imposing anything onto us. That is something that is one of the biggest advantages. And I remind you, as when you join, that think about those who have this opportunity. Think about the people in Muslim who are sitting in Mosaic, torn down, broken up, in the midst of rubbles, where this is where they are praying. So we ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to make their affairs easy, and we ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to make our affairs easy as well. Inna asal hadith wa abla al-mu'idha kitab Allah a'udhu billahi min shaitan ar-rajim.
90 packages मुझे बनाने पड़ते हैं उसके ऊपर Allah